Hello, my friends. Welcome to English Flow. I'm Mark, and today I want to help you with something that every English learner fears. That horrible moment when you're talking to someone in English and suddenly, silence. Awkward silence. You don't know what to say next. Your mind goes blank. You feel embarrassed. The other person is waiting, and you just stand there like a statue. Maybe this happened to you at work. You're talking to a colleague and the conversation just dies. Maybe it happened at a party. You're chatting with someone new and you run out of words. Or maybe it happened in a shop when you're trying to be friendly with the cashier, but you don't know how to continue the conversation? My friend, this feeling is terrible. I know because I've been there too. That panic when you realize you have nothing more to say. That embarrassment when the silence gets longer and longer. But here's the good news. Today, I'm going to give you 100 English words and phrases that will save you from every awkward conversation moment. These are not random words from a dictionary. These are conversation lifesavers. Words that keep talking flowing naturally. Words that native speakers use all the time when they need to fill space, show interest, or keep conversations alive. By the end of this episode, you will never run out of things to say again. Let me tell you something important. Native speakers use filler words and conversation helpers constantly. We don't speak in perfect sentences like textbooks. We use small words and sounds to keep conversation smooth and natural. These words are like oil in a machine. They make everything work better. Today we're going to learn these conversation savers in different categories. First, words for showing you're listening. Then words for agreeing and disagreeing. Then words for changing topics. Then words for buying time when you need to think. And finally, words for ending conversations politely. But before we start, let me share a secret with you. The key to natural conversation is not knowing many difficult words. The key is knowing the right small words and using them confidently. Native speakers don't impress people with big vocabulary. They connect with people using simple, warm, natural language. So let's begin with the first category. Words for showing you're listening. When someone is talking to you, you need to show that you're paying attention. You need to show that you care about what they're saying. These little words do exactly that. Really, this is perfect when someone tells you something interesting or surprising. Listen to how I use it. Someone says, "I went to Japan last month." You respond, "Really? How was it?" Simple, but powerful. Oh. This shows surprise or interest. Someone says, "I got a new job." You say, "Oh, congratulations." It's natural and warm. Wow. This shows you're impressed. Someone says, "I climbed a mountain yesterday." You say, "Wow, that's amazing." Right. This shows you understand and agree. Someone says, "The weather is crazy today." You say, "Right, it's so hot." Exactly. This shows strong agreement. Someone says, "English grammar is confusing sometimes." You say, "Exactly, it really is." I see. This shows you understand what they mean. Someone explains something and you say, "I see, that makes sense." This is a sound, not a word, but it's very important. It shows you're following the conversation. You can use it while someone is talking. Let's practice these listening words together. I'll give you a situation and you can practice responding. Someone says, I had a terrible day at work. You could say, oh no, what happened? Or, really? Tell me about it. Someone says, I love this restaurant. You could say, right, the food is great, or, exactly, I come here often. These small words show that you're engaged in the conversation. They encourage the other person to keep talking. They make you seem friendly and interested. Now let's move to the second category, words for agreeing. Sometimes you want to show that you have the same opinion or experience as the other person. These words help you connect and build rapport. Definitely. This shows strong agreement. Someone says, we should meet more often. You say, definitely, I'd love that. Absolutely. This is even stronger than definitely. Someone says, English movies are great for learning. You say, absolutely, they really help. For sure? This is casual and friendly. Someone says, this coffee is good. You say, for sure, it's my favorite. That's true. This acknowledges the other person's point. Someone says, learning languages takes time. You say, that's true, but it's worth it. You're right. This gives credit to the other person's opinion. Someone says, we should leave soon. You say, you're right, traffic will be bad. I know, right? This is very casual and shows you completely agree. Someone says, this movie is so funny. You say, I know, right? I can't stop laughing. Same here. This shows you have the same experience. Someone says, I'm really tired today. You say, same here, I didn't sleep well. These agreement words make conversations flow smoothly. They show you're on the same wavelength as the other person. They build connection and trust. Now let's practice agreeing. Someone says, I think pizza is the best food ever. You could respond with absolutely or I know, right? Or definitely, I could eat pizza every day. Someone says, work has been really busy lately. You could say, same here, or that's true, everyone seems stressed, or you're right, there's so much to do. The third category is words for polite disagreement. Sometimes you don't agree with someone, but you want to be respectful and kind. These words help you disagree without creating conflict. Actually, this introduces a different viewpoint gently. Someone says, I think the movie starts at 8. You say, actually, I think it starts at 7:30. Well, this softens disagreement. Someone says, English is easy. You say, well, I find it quite challenging actually. Maybe. This suggests uncertainty and opens discussion. Someone says, we should take the bus. You say, maybe, but the train might be faster. I suppose. This shows mild agreement with doubt. Someone says, the weather looks good. You say, I suppose, but those clouds look dark. Perhaps? This is formal and polite. Someone says, we should cancel the meeting. You say, perhaps, but let's wait a bit longer. I'm not sure about that. This disagrees clearly but politely. Someone says, everyone loves this song. You say, I'm not sure about that. Music taste is very personal. That's one way to look at it. This acknowledges their view while suggesting there are other perspectives. Someone says, money isn't important. You say, that's one way to look at it, but I think it does matter for security. Remember, disagreeing doesn't mean arguing. These phrases help you share different opinions while keeping the conversation friendly and respectful. The fourth category is topic changers. Sometimes conversations get stuck on one subject and you want to move to something else. Sometimes you want to avoid uncomfortable topics. These words help you change direction smoothly. By the way, this introduces a new topic that just occurred to you. You're talking about work and you say, by the way, have you seen the new coffee shop down the street? Speaking of, this connects to something already mentioned. Someone mentions travel and you say, speaking of travel, I'm planning a trip to Italy. That reminds me. This introduces a related memory or thought. Someone talks about books and you say, that reminds me, I need to return some books to the library. Anyway, this moves away from the current topic to something else. You're discussing a problem and you say, anyway, how's your family doing? So, this is casual and can change topics or summarize. You say, so, what are your plans for the weekend? Before I forget, this introduces something important you need to mention. In the middle of any conversation, you can say, before I forget, thank you for helping me yesterday. Oh, that's interesting, but this acknowledges what they said, then redirects. Someone is complaining about traffic, and you say, oh, that's interesting, but did you hear about the new restaurant? These topic changers give you control over conversations. They help you avoid boring or uncomfortable subjects and move to things you want to discuss. The fifth category is thinking time words. Sometimes you need a moment to organize your thoughts or find the right words. Instead of staying silent, use these words to buy yourself time naturally. Let me think. This clearly states you need a moment. Someone asks, what's your favorite book? You say, let me think. I'd probably say Harry Potter. This sound shows you're considering the question. Someone asks, do you want Chinese or Italian food? You say, Italian sounds good. Good question. This compliments the person while giving you time. Someone asks, why did you choose to study English? You say, good question. I think it's because I love communicating with people from different countries. You know what? This introduces your thought after considering. Someone asks about your weekend plans and you say, you know what? I might go to the beach. Well, let me see. This shows you're thinking through options. Someone asks, what time should we meet? You say, well, let me see. How about 3 o'clock? I'd say. This introduces your opinion after thinking. Someone asks, how long does it take to learn English? You say, I'd say it depends on how much you practice. If I had to guess. This gives an answer when you're not completely sure. Someone asks, how old do you think she is? You say, if I had to guess, I'd say about 25. These thinking words make you sound thoughtful and natural. They show you're considering your answer carefully. Native speakers use them constantly. The sixth category is conversation closers. Sometimes you need to end a conversation politely. Maybe you need to go somewhere or you're getting tired. These phrases help you exit gracefully. Well, this often signals the conversation is winding down. You say, well, I should probably get going. anyway. This can also close conversations. You say, anyway, it was great talking to you. So, this summarizes or concludes. You say, so I'll call you tomorrow about the meeting. All right. This shows acceptance and readiness to end. You say, all right, I'll see you next week. I should probably. This introduces the reason you need to leave. You say, I should probably head home now. It's getting late. This gives a reason for leaving. You say, it's getting late, I have work tomorrow. I don't want to keep you. This shows consideration for the other person. You say, I don't want to keep you, I know you're busy. These closers help you leave conversations without being rude or abrupt. They show respect for the other person while clearly indicating the conversation is ending. The seventh and final category is emergency words. These are for those moments when you really don't know what to say, but you need to say something. They keep conversations alive when your mind goes completely blank. Interesting. This works for almost any statement. Someone tells you anything, and you can say, interesting, while you think of a better response. Really? This shows surprise or asks for more information. It works in many situations and encourages the other person to continue. I understand. This shows empathy and gives you time to think. Someone shares a problem and you say, I understand? That must be difficult. That's good to know. This works when someone gives you information. They tell you anything and you can respond. That's good to know. Thanks for telling me. Makes sense. This shows you follow their logic. Someone explains something and you say, makes sense while you process the information. Fair enough. This accepts their point without strong agreement or disagreement. Someone gives their opinion and you say, fair enough, while you consider your response. No kidding. This shows surprise or interest in what they said. Someone shares news and you say, no kidding, I had no idea. These emergency words are your safety net. When panic strikes and you can't think of anything clever, these simple phrases will save you every time. Let me tell you something important. Using these conversation helpers doesn't make you sound less intelligent. It makes you sound more natural and native-like. Professional English speakers, news presenters, and business people use these words constantly. The secret to great conversations is not impressing people with big words. The secret is making people feel comfortable and understood. These small words do exactly that. They show you're listening, you care, and you're engaged in the interaction. Here's how to practice these conversation savers. First, choose 5 words from each category that feel natural to you. Don't try to learn all 100 at once. Start with the ones that match your personality and speaking style. Second, practice using them in real conversations. Start with low-pressure situations like ordering coffee or chatting with neighbors. As you get comfortable, use them in more important conversations. Third, listen for these words when native speakers talk. Watch movies, listen to podcasts, observe conversations around you. Notice how often people use these small connecting words. Fourth, don't worry about using them perfectly. The goal is natural communication, not grammar perfection. Native speakers use these words automatically without thinking about rules. Remember, awkward silence is not your enemy. It's just a normal part of conversation. But now you have 100 ways to break that silence naturally and confidently. You have tools to keep conversations flowing smoothly. These words are like magic spells for social situations. They turn uncomfortable moments into opportunities for connection. They help you sound friendly, interested, and engaged, even when you're feeling nervous or uncertain. Practice these conversation helpers every day. Use them with confidence. And remember, the more you use them, the more automatic they become. Soon, you'll be using them without thinking, just like native speakers do. Your English conversations will never be awkward again. You'll always have something to say. You'll feel confident in social situations. And most importantly, you'll be able to connect with people naturally and authentically. Thank you for learning with me today, my friends. These 100 words are your conversation insurance policy. Keep them ready, use them boldly, and watch your English confidence grow every day. This is Mark from English Flow. Keep practicing, keep connecting, and remember that great conversations start with small words used with big confidence. Until next time, keep flowing.